Really connect, dude. It's like back in the day. I was about to say the other day. It's like back in the day when I was a kid. There was like we had we had this thing called BBS systems, which is like bulletin board systems, and you could like
Yeah,
download games and stuff like that. Remember those? You have to
yeah.
dial in, you dial up modem, and then you get on, and it'll be like, and it would
No.
like make all those weird noises and stuff. And then I remember downloading like Doom or like Duke Nukem for the first time, and it was, and if somebody rang your phone rang, then it would and someone picked up, it would disconnect your internet connection, and you have to reset it and like start over. It took me one time like 4 days to download a game. It was so crazy. And now I
Holy
just
crap.
send you a text, and I'm like, hey, we're going live. And it's like, cool. 2 seconds later, you're like, I'm on. It's like there he is. It's so crazy how far it's come.
Right?
It's really wild to
Yeah,
me.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Hey man, it's all right, dude. Back on the train, right? You back on the horse or off the horse? On the horse, I guess. Whatever they call it. Back
Both?
on the path, right?
Yeah.
That's the important thing. I guess we all fall at some point and get back up, right? So don't
Yes,
feel too
sir.
bad. Don't get down the dumps.
That's part of recovery.
It is, man. We always talk about that at church. It's like relapse is part of recovery. We
At
all
least it
make little
wasn't meth.
mistakes, huh?
At least it wasn't meth.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering when you said you relapsed. I was like, well, what'd you do? So I was
Got
thinking this
stoned.
whole time maybe I thought you went back to doing some meth or something, or you bumped into a friend and did a little bump, or I didn't know when you said that. So just a little
Marijuana's
weed.
my good choice.
Yeah, well, that was a better choice than doing a light bulb or something, for sure. I thought you because when you said you've been cleaning and stuff today, I was like, well, he's probably all spun out or something like I used to get. I used to get spun out and clean my room, clean my house. Remember one time I did. A friend of mine had some cocaine and he's my weed dealer, but I went to his house one day. He's like, "Hey, man, you ever done cocaine before?" I was like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "You want to try some?" I'm like, "Sure." And he like set out a line in front of me. And I did it. I rubbed some of my gums and stuff, and then he like fronted me a little bit, and I just took it home. And I was like, did a little more, and I was like, "Now what do I do? Now I'm ready to like clean or do something." I think I cleaned my apartment for like 3 hours straight. Like I was just It was wild, man. I only did it one time. It was like once or twice I did coke, but I didn't. Whoa, you're green screening. I think it was like once or twice I did that stuff, but I didn't really. I was too speedy. I didn't like that speedy feeling. And it didn't last very long either. So,
I don't know how to get it off.
you're all green, dude. Got that green screen. Yeah, I was talking about it in group um well, what was it Thursday? And I keep talking. Whoa, he's completely green now. He's gone. There he is. I keep talking about how I've still got weed in my garage. Like I still got some pre rolls in there. I don't know why I'm hanging on to them, but I got them for. I went to a Christmas party at work at my cannabis job. But we didn't go to the Christmas party. But after the Christmas party was over, I had a weird dream about like being given some weed and being like, oh, and I got this weed in my house or in my car or whatever it was in my dream. And then the next day I went to work. My boss was like, "Hey, we had our Christmas party and you missed it. So here's a goodie bag for you." And I was like, "Oh," and I've been like 2 months sober at that point. And she gave it to me out in the parking lot, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, "If it's just a goodie bag, then why would you give it to me out here? Like it's some weird thing going on?" And I was thinking, there's probably something in there that I don't really want, but she's gonna give it to me anyways. And
There
so I
was.
like I knew what it was. And I was asking around like, what's in that goodie bag? And everybody's like, oh, there's some pre rolls in there. Um, You know, there's a chocolate bar in there, a couple gummies. I think there's a hat, some sunshades in there. Some cool stuff or whatever. But I was like, okay, great. So I was sitting in my car all day, and then when I got off work, I was so curious. I was like, what? I wonder what they put in there. Like probably something really nice. And it was. It was like some infused pre rolls and a premium pre roll and a couple of infused ones with like some kind of nice wax. And I was like borderline kind of excited to see what was in that goodie bag. But I had it in my car, and then I just took the whole bag out and put it in my garage, and I'm like 2 months sober at that point, and I'm like, cleaning my garage one day, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got that goodie bag." And I was like, "I wonder what all's in there." So I opened it up and I was looking through it, and I was like, "Oh, there's four pre-rolls, four 1 gram pre-rolls in here. There's like a chocolate bar, strawberries and cream bar. There's a couple of hybrid gummies. Like, there's some pretty good stuff in here." And I was really tempted that day. I was like, "Man, I could just smoke a little bit. It'd probably be okay, you know." And that was a dream I had the other night, and I didn't. But the other night I had a dream that was really weird because I was like, it was like I was back working that job again, you know.
Mhm.
And and in the dream, like a friend, I had this, I had one of those pre rolls in my dream, and I broke it apart, and I was like dumping it out onto a table, and it like kept the pile just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like it started out as like a 1 gram pre roll, and as I broke it apart, it broke up into like a quarter or a half. It was like this giant pile of buds, and I was like, wow. And in my dream, I was reminded of how like in the dream, I was like telling myself like maybe I could just do it like once a month or something, you know, maybe like every 6 months I'll just take a hit and be like I'm good, you know. But then in my dream, it was like I was after I had the dream and woke up, I was like, man, that was like a dream telling me that if I do a little bit, then I'll start doing a lot of bit. It's like I'll start with just a little bit, and then then by day, I'll start doing more and more because that's how it works for me. Same thing with alcohol. It's like well, I could drink a little alcohol, but then before I know it, I'm drinking a 6 pack every night. I'm like, man, I can't do
Yeah,
this all the time.
marijuana is my meth.
I'm really glad too, man. Praise God, it wasn't meth or nothing. Weed is like the lightest thing you could do, probably. Even though now I think it's like the devil's lettuce, you know. But people always say, but yeah, that is the lightest thing you could probably relapse on. So that's good. Just I
I
thought that
treat it like
when you
fucking
messaged me that,
dope.
I was like, oh no, Bill's like he's done something really bad or he's drinking or something, you know. So I'm happy that it's not that.
That marijuana is my dope.
Yeah. Well, at least you know weed's easy to stop. You know what I mean? It's not one of
Yeah,
those things. You said you gave it away, so that's always good,
yeah.
right?
I gave it to my older brother for what I had.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of my stuff, the stuff in my garage.
Don't
Maybe
give
I'll
it
do
to
that
me.
tonight. I'm not good. I'll mail it to you, but that's highly
Yeah,
illegal to
okay.
mail weed to somebody, isn't it? I think. I
Not
don't
if
know.
you try
Probably is
shit.
though. Yeah. I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna give it to anybody. That was something else
Yeah,
somebody
just
told me. Like, I was like,
throw it
"Oh, I got this weed in my house. I need to get rid of it." It's like, "Well, just give it away to somebody." I'm like, "But that feels kind of weird. Like, I'm trying to quit doing something. Should I just give it to somebody else so they can do it?" Like, I don't know.
away.
I hear you, Bill. I'm tired tonight, dude. I was laying down in the dark, and my son was like, "Hey, are you gonna do live tonight with Bill?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to. I'm just laying here for a minute. I'm just resting my eyes." I was starting to doze off a little bit. And he's like, "Aren't we gonna read this book?" He got a library book from school, and he's like, "Aren't we gonna read this book before we go to bed?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm so tired though." I'm like, "Yeah, we can read a book." So, so we read one. We got through one book, and then I told him he could just go play his game for a few minutes. So he's playing some Star Wars on Switch right now while we do a short live stream. So
Nice.
just wanted to get something in tonight, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, at church, I was thinking, you know, like I went to church last week, and it was weird because the normal teacher at our Bible study group after church wasn't there, and it was like one of our senior pastors was there instead. And it was really good. I was really nervous at first because he said I walk in there and they already kind of started, and he's like, "Well, we're gonna do something different this time." I'm like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, "Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the part in Matthew about where Jesus stills the storm, right? Where they're on the boat. It's like Matthew, it's chapter 8, verse 23. And so Jesus is on his way. Like they're getting ready. The very next one is called, in verse 28, it's called how do you say that? Gersenany demoniacs. So right after
Huh.
Jesus stilled the storm in this story, the very next thing he did was he went and took out these demons. They were like, I think it was like a group of them, and they were like, um, they were in the city and they were affecting people in the city and stuff and scaring people and whatnot. And so like the part about the Jesus stilling the storm, and I just saw a video on YouTube about it. Like the day after we had church, I just happened to click on this video, and they were talking about how Jesus stilled the storm, and there's one of the verses before that, and after that, he went and healed this whole city from these demons because the demons were affecting a lot of people and scaring people on the road and stuff like that. So I was just going to talk about how Jesus stilled the storms. What we did in church last week was we uh we took turns, like we all have different Bibles, and um like I have the King James. Two of the people had the New King James version. One guy had like the NIV. Um, so like we all had different versions of it. So we went around the room. We each read like a section of Jesus, the part about Jesus stilling the storm, and then it's like, so we're gonna read it. We're gonna go around the room and read it out of our each of our Bibles, and then when we get done, we're gonna each go through and explain the part. Like we're gonna each explain a part until we all get it kind of memorized, and then we'll have a better understanding of what it was. So it was really good. I need to start going through um, the Bible like that a little more, and just going through like one little section and trying to
Right.
understand it better. And I was talking to my pastor, my senior pastor at my church, and it's like I was telling him like that was a really good way to teach. Like I never done that before, and it was really cool. And I was like, I've never read the Bible. Like I'm trying to get through it right now, and we're just on got through Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus. And he's like, "Ooh, Leviticus, that's a hard one." He's like, "Exodus is pretty rough. Once you get past the part about Pharaoh and all that stuff, it just becomes like the Ark of the Covenant and how they're measuring things and the cubits and the breadth and the width and
Right.
the blue, purple, scarlet, all these different colors and stuff." And so he's like, that's hard to understand. He's like, I would actually recommend going like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or even just starting on John and just going through that one, just to have a better understanding. He's like, New Testament is so much easier to understand than going through the Old Testament stuff. The Old Testament's it's
It
just hard
really
to
is.
understand. So I know that now. It's like, man. So I think I'll start focusing more on Matthew for a while. Maybe I'll flip back and forth to John and different things, but I'm just gonna read Jesus stills a storm. So which kind of Bible do you have?
Right now, New King James.
The New King James? Okay. So I'm going to read, let's do this. I'm going to read Jesus Stills the Storm, Matthew 8, verse 23 through 27. And then you can read it out of yours and we'll see what the difference is. Can we do that?
Uh, Let me get there first.
Yeah, of course.
Matthew 8.
Yeah, Matthew 8, verse 23.
Okay.
Okay. So, called Jesus Stills the Storm. Let me just change the camera here for a second. All right. Let's see. Jesus stills the storm, verse 23. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea. My note says a great storm, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. The note says he alone can save us. And he said unto them, the reason for the dilemma, why are you fearful, O you of little faith, or misplaced faith? The note says. Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. O you of little faith occurs four times. Matthew 6:30, Matthew 8:26, Matthew 14:31, and Matthew 16:8. But the men marveled or were astonished, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? The note says he is man, but as well he is God. So can you read your version of that, the New King James, and see how similar it is?
What verse did you
It's
stop at?
23. I stopped at 27.
Okay.
So 23 through 27.
But
Green
Jesus said
screen.
to him, follow me and let the dead bury their own. Oh, wait, that's 22. Now, 23. Now, when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him. And suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. But he said to them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, Who can be this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?
Mm.
Man,
Pretty much the same on that one, as it is just the
yeah.
New King James. I don't have any other versions of the Bible sitting here, so we'll just go with that. So when he entered into the ship, his disciples followed him, and behold, there was a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? So my pastor's version of this one, it said that in so much that the ship was full with the water or with the
Hmm.
waves. So it says the ship was covered, which means that if it was full, that means that the water in the ship had rose to the point where the ship was almost completely full of water before they went and woke up Jesus, right? So it's like, so what we were talking about in church was like, so they waited until their problems were so high, the water was so high and they were all about to drown. Then they went and were like, "Hey, Jesus, like, what should we do? Like this is the end. Like we feel like we're all going to drown." You know, and that's
Kind
like
of like
a
a.
yeah, and it's like a metaphor for our own lives. Like, how long do you wait before you call on Jesus? It's like, well, I'm having some really hard time here. And you wait until the boat is just about to completely sink. And then also the part I thought was interesting was it said, but the men marveled. In mine, it says, but the men marveled. And the note says, we're astonished, saying, What manner of man is this that is even the winds and the sea obey him? And in I think it was the pastor's Bible, it said that the men were fearful. They were not just amazed, they weren't just astonished, they were afraid. They were even more, I think it said they were even more afraid of the man that could stop the waves in the storm than the actual storm. And once they realized he could do that, it's like, what kind of man can do that? Like, that seems
Yeah,
impossible,
who
right?
is this?
Yeah. He's man, but he's also God. And so, um, and then in the video that I was watching on YouTube, they were talking about how the guy was talking how there was a great storm that came up, and the storm was something that was trying to stop them. Like it was an impasse. It was like, because if they wouldn't have gotten through that storm, if they all would have drowned, right?
Yeah,
Then none of the stuff with Jesus and the demons would have happened because they wouldn't have made it that far. Of course, Jesus would have survived because he could just walk on water. But he's saying it was like the devil trying to stop them from getting to where they were trying to go. So I'm going to read the next section. It's called I can't even say it. I don't know how to say that. I think it's Gersenini demoniacs. So in 28 it says, and when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gersenes, there met him two possessed with devils or demons, coming out of the tombs where they lived, exceeding fierce. They were maniacs, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with you, Jesus, thou Son of God? Are you come here to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from there a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, "If you cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine." And he said unto them, "Go." And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their ways into the city, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coasts. So you want to read? Can you read that section, but in yours, just to see if it's any different?
So 28 through what?
28 through 34.
Okay. When he had come to the other side of the country of Jugensenes or whatever,
However you
there
say that.
met, yeah, I don't know, there met him two demon possessed men coming out of the tombs exceedingly fierce, so that no one could pass that way. And suddenly they cried out, saying, What have you what have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Now a good way off from them there were a herd of many swine feeding. So the demons begged him, saying, If you cast us out, permit us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said to them, Go. So when they had come out, they were they went into the herd of swine, and suddenly the whole herd of swine ran violently down the steep place into the sea, and perished in the water. These, then those who from kept them fled, and they went away into the city and told everything, including what had happened to the demon possessed men. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus when they saw him, and they begged him to depart from their region.
Oh. So I'm going to read it once with the notes because the notes tell a lot about what they're talking about here.
Okay.
So it says, when he was come to the other side, the eastern side of Galilee, into the country of the I don't know how to say that. I wish I knew how to say that right. Gersenes, there met him two possessed with devils or demons, coming out of the tombs. The note says where they lived, exceeding fierce, and the note says they were maniacs, so that no man might pass by that way. So they lived in the tombs, and they were maniacs or demoniacs, is what it says in mine. And behold, they
Hmm.
cried out, speaking to Christ, saying, What have we to do with you, Jesus, thou Son of God? The demons had more intelligence than do the disciples of modern thought. Are
Yeah.
you come here to torment us before the time? So the note on mine says the time would be the time of judgment, Revelation 21 through 3. So the demons know that the judgment is coming, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there was a good way off from them a herd of many swine or hogs feeding. So the devils or demons besought him, saying, If you cast us out, since you are casting us out, the note says, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. The note says, Leave the men and inhabit the hogs. So the devil said, If you cast us out. So they knew they were going to get cast out, and basically said, Since you are casting us out, suffer us to go away into the pigs. And he said unto them, Go. That proclaimed his approval, it says. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, or the Sea of Galilee, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, the note says, quickly, and went their ways into the city and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils, or his complete deliverance, the note says. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, it says it took a little while to find him. They besought him that he would depart out of their coast, or from their borders, basically. So after Jesus did this, they didn't want him around anymore. They wanted him to leave their city, basically, or leave their borders. Is that what it's saying?
I
That's what
think
it sounds
so.
like. The
Yeah.
whole so after he cast out these demons, they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city. So they went to the city and told everything that happened, and what happened to the possessed of the devils, or their deliverance from demons. And the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast. I wonder why they wanted him to leave, though. Was it just too strange, or I don't know why they would want him to leave? If he cast out a bunch of demons and he got rid of the demoniacs, then why would they be like, "We need you to get out of here. We don't want you here anymore." You know what I mean? Maybe that's not what that means. That's what it looks like to me, though.
Right. Yeah.
Roach says it is interesting that a person can have more than one demon at a time. Yeah, you can have multiple demons, I guess. And there are demons for all kinds of different things. So,
Man.
see, Amanda asked, "Can I tell you a song to listen to?" Sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear a new song I'd never heard before. We'll get into chapter 9 next time, but this is about Jesus healing a paralyzed man. I was listening to something the other day about that, and they were talking about how that paralyzed man, like back in those days, they didn't have wheelchairs and stuff like that. They didn't have any way to move around. So that dude was like laying in a cot, and he was just there, and he would just lay there night and day, like there was nothing for him to do, you know. Not like today where he could have a wheelchair and he could get around. He might be able to do a job or something, you know. Like he was laying there 24 hours a day, and nobody was helping him because there's nothing you could. Back in those days, there was really nothing you could do for him. I don't think, you know. If you were
What song do
paralyzed,
you want to listen to, Amanda?
yeah. What song is that? I'd love to hear it. I'm still listening to Young Bro, "Working on Me." It's such a good song. I keep finding new
Yeah.
songs. There's this group called the Triumphant Quartet, I think they're called, and they do
Huh.
a country version of "Goodness of God." We were playing it at church the other day. It's really good. It's a little different than the other one. You know, there's that one by what's her name? Is it, I can't remember. Is it Cece? Oh, I can't remember her name, but she has that "Goodness of God" song that's very popular. But this is like a country twang kind of version of it, so that was really good.
I
Tell us the
don't know.
song, man. Come on. Yeah, because I think that like I don't know. Yeah, the thing about having multiple demons. I don't think that if you're a Christian, I don't think you can be possessed, but I think you could be demonized, right? I think the demons could mess with you. I think they could get in your head. They could tempt you with different things. They can make you angry. They can make you feel depressed. They can make you feel sad. Like so, yeah, you could have multiple demons inside of one person. If someone's really possessed, like I was listening to there's a guy named his last name is Rehill. He's a Catholic priest, and I think he lives in like North Carolina or something. But he's like one of the head exorcists for the Catholic Church. He was on the Sean Ryan show, and he was talking about being an exorcist and casting out demons and stuff. And he was saying that this one lady she was like go to work and have a normal day, but when she got home, she was like dealing with all these demons in her life. And he was like, if you let it get so bad where the demons are controlling all these different parts of your life, then you can be possessed by a demon and it could control like all the way you act and the way because they were saying like she would have a normal day at work and then when she'd get home she'd be like yelling at her kids and like drinking all the time and doing drugs and like be controlled almost completely, you know. So he was talking about how they had to cast that demon out of her. And he was talking about how he had this he's an exorcist and so he would bring people into his office or whatever and he'd like to try to offer them water because usually people will just be polite and say, "Yeah, I'll take some water." But he has this like a 5-gallon jug, you know those water dispensers, right? And he had this like 5-gallon jug of water, but it's holy water that's been blessed. And so he said like he would give it to people to test to see if they're, you know, see if they've got a demon or whatever. And he said he offered water to this one lady and he gave her the drink and she took a drink and she just started screaming like, "Ah, what'd you give me?" He's like, "It's holy water." You know, he must have some kind of demon. But that was like a test that he used to kind of screen people almost, you know, to see if they
Right.
were really
It
being
does.
affected or if they were just I'm like, that's a great idea though. I need to get me some holy water. I'm drinking that
So
stuff
where do
all
you
the
get it from?
time. Huh?
Where do you get it from?
You could just I think you just bless your own water, but he said it's like it has like some kind of salt in it.
Hmm.
It's like lightly salted water, but he said he just gets like purified water and then he just blesses it and just says a prayer over the water and it changes the water into holy water. Same thing with like holy anointing oil, you know? It's just
Hmm.
like olive oil, but you just bless the oil and then you just, say a prayer over it and stuff and then it's changed into holy oil that you can anoint people with and stuff. So I don't know if a man is gonna say anything, but I'm gonna have to get to bed pretty quick. So we ready to say our
Yeah.
prayer before we go?
Yeah.
All right. This is the model prayer. I hope you guys will say it along with us here. Bill's got a smile. He's ready for this prayer. It's
I
probably
need
my
it,
favorite one. Yeah, right? Our
especially after
Father,
our
yeah,
Father
our Father who is in heaven,
who art in heaven,
hallowed be your name.
hallowed be thy name.
Your kingdom come,
Your kingdom come,
your will be done
your will be done
in earth
on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For yours is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever. Amen.
forever. Amen.
Thanks, Bill. I gotta start saying that one more often. Lead us
Me
not into
too,
temptation.
apparently.
For if you forgive men their trespasses or large sins, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. I'm still waiting on Amanda to give us that song, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, neither, buddy.
Like you're getting tired, dude. It's been a long day. I did get a little nap in today. Saturday is the Sabbath day, right? So I always try to get a nap in. I try to get a nap in on Saturday and Sunday if I can, but it doesn't always work out. So, but today I slept for like an hour and a half or something in the afternoon. So I feel so refreshed after my afternoon nap.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing. Yeah. Sorry it's been so long, man. I think it's been like
No.
2 weeks since the last one, but I don't know. I just can't seem to get on a consistent cycle of doing this. But hopefully this week, keep saying that. But hopefully this week we can get back into it. I know when we
Right.
first started, we get up at 3 in the morning and do them for 2 hours or something, before I go to work. But I wasn't working the job I'm working now, so I'm a lot more tired by Friday. By Friday night, I'm like, man, I'm tired. Like my body's sore. I need some good rest. So I
Yeah.
just can't stay up late like before my last job. I could just sit in a chair all day. Now I'm lifting like 50-pound buckets all day and like driving a forklift around and just different things that are like way different. So it's been really good. I'm just more tired and my feet hurt more. So I just got to get more rest. But we got to make more time for God. You know it. Still going to church on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Still going to church on Sundays. But yeah, I gotta make more time to read the Bible and to just pray more and stuff like that. So thanks for being here, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Get some rest, man.
You too. I'm gonna go finish the dishes, then get some rest.
There you go. I'm trying to get all my dishes done before I go to bed, which is hard sometimes. Usually I just leave a sink full and then I get up. I'm like, oh man, I got all these dishes to do. But finally today, thank God, I was able to get all my dishes washed. And
Nice.
now there's like one dish in the sink, but I'm good with that. I got all my dishes done. They piled up for a whole week. I finally got them done. And today, praise God, I got my vacuum cleaner working. I haven't
Nice.
vacuumed the floors in my house since I moved in, so I got this old vacuum cleaner out, and it actually worked and turned on. Before, I couldn't get it to work on the floors, so it's actually made for
Nice.
like hardwood floors, so I can still use it. I only have 2 rooms that have carpet, so the rest of it's like a fake wood kind of floor.
Yeah.
So thank God I was able to get my floors done today. It feels so nice to have my clean carpets.
Oh,
They
I
were
bet.
getting so dusty with like crumbs and different things, little pieces of paper and like cornflakes and stuff. So yeah, it was a real blessing to get that done today. I did a lot of cleaning today. So all right, I'll talk to you soon, brother. Love you, man.
Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, talk to you tomorrow.
All right, night,
Night,
buddy.
everybody.